Hello, guys. We are the three igniters,
Yes!
and I am here to ignite you into taking action on changing your life, changing, exploring what is it that needs to be better in you and for you.
And I'm here to ignite your relationship with food and how you look at the sensual pleasure in all of life that's around you.
And I'm here to ignite the leader that lives within you, your leader self, and to help you to connect with yourself and your loved ones.
All right. Well, good morning.
Good morning,
everybody.
Time for more conversation.
Yes.
And
we decided to bring about something that, well, it was brought about by my birthday. But I think it's very fitting. We all do, because, well, the biggest, pretty much all over the world, celebration is coming, which is Christmas, New Year's Eve, the New Year. And we wanted to talk about how we celebrate. So how about that?
Yeah, I think that's great. And yeah, especially in this time, right? I think there's a lot of anxiety and apprehension going into, what's coming up, the American Thanksgiving, and then the holiday Christmas season, and where we're sitting as on a global scale for will we be able to be with our families? Will we not? So I think it's definitely appropriate for us to, and timely for us to talk about celebration.
I agree.
I love it. So I think there's so many levels, like everything, but I know maybe I'll just touch on having been entertaining people my entire life in event planning and hosting parties. There was always that aspect of celebrating, right? Celebrating for and through other people. Now it's like, I look at that as, how do I celebrate my own life, right? Like celebrating just life in general and me being here, because that's been a big journey to get me here. And I know when you started with, now we're going into the holidays and everything else, I think that's beautiful, because for me, until I could celebrate me, I never felt like I could sit in these moments of celebration, holiday stamped, to really feel really a true part of that. So I do look forward to a new Christmas, a new year, new conversations, and new just connections with people, right? Because I know my journey this entire year has taken me to a totally different space of celebrating me, so that I can be in these spaces to celebrate. So much there.
Yeah.
And
Donna, that you say celebrating you, I think that's why my birthday is what brought it about, because I have many clients that they come to me and they said, yeah, for me, my birthday is not a celebration reason. And I do remember, that brings me back when I was a very small child, like before I was 9. My birthday could probably be the most miserable day of the year. It was the year that the day that the universe could validate for me my belief that people wouldn't remember me, that people didn't care, that people blah, blah, blah. And for some miracle, I decided when I was 9 that I was done with that I was done being miserable in my birthday. And what I decided to do was, I am going to start telling everybody that it is my birthday about a week ahead. That way, I will never know who remembered on their own and who didn't. So I'm going to prep up the mood around it, mine and everybody else's. Ever since, my birthdays are, how do you call that? A week-long celebration.
Oh, absolutely. I was the same way. I loved my birthdays. I've always loved my birthdays. And because it's in September, I say it's Valentine's Day in September. When I tell people that, they never forget, right? And I would start about 2 months in advance prepping, Valentine's Day in September is coming. Da, 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 da. And so by the time it came, and when I was young, I always had parties. My parents always super. So I always had lots of people around and stuff. So I loved celebrating my birthday because I always say, well, without my birthday, I wouldn't be here, kind of thing. In terms of celebration, more generally, I love the holidays and things like that. But it wasn't until probably, I'm going to say, my late 30s, early 40s, where I really dropped into the connecting with others, right? I loved holidays because it meant getting gifts. The receiving was always really good. And, as an undercurrent to what you were saying, Yasmilde, about not being seen, not being recognized, knowing that those were the few times I knew for sure I was going to be getting attention and receiving something. And so my attention was on receiving. And it wasn't until my late 30s and early 40s where I went, oh, it's, I really, the giving, right? The giving, the connection with another. So
The
it's
gratefulness for everything that shows, everybody that actually connects with you, the things that happen, the things you attracted, the balance of the year, whatever that is. And so, yeah. Yeah.
So I think I'm going to speak to the audience who is only learning celebration, because listening to both of you, I know my journey this year has sort of been this really huge pivot point. So go back to, as a little girl, my younger sister and I, our birthdays were 4 days apart. And we had 2 older sisters. So we always got hand-me-downs, never had our own birthday. So never liked birthdays. It was like we'd get the same outfit, we'd get the hand-me-down, whatever. So never birthdays. Then come to me entertaining everyone else. And again, putting it out there, never did it come back to me. I always wanted it and craved it, right? Like I would be like, Christmas or whatever, because we weren't a wealthy family. We would get the stories that I remember what it was like in the war, and we would get a piece of fruit. We didn't have Christmas gifts. It's not that we didn't get any, but you would get 1 or 2. And there was always that underlying, Christmas is about Jesus' birthday. It's not about you getting presents because you're selfish or this, right? And all the stories that go with that. So I have held on to that forever. And I turned 50 this year, right? Back in March. And even to have that, that's why I'm saying pivot point now, even then, it was a space of, because I knew what was the undercurrent pulling my life, to say all I wanted to be surrounded around were women that supported me, right? And that I felt enough of a connection to. So turning 50, most people think you want to do this big birthday. And there was always something, God, I would love to have this extravagant birthday. But then it became, am I worthy? Do I have the money? Blah, 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 blah. And then I really sat into it, and it became, what is more important for me, exactly with what I'm going through. And that was to create and have this network that I could finally feel vulnerable enough in to say, I actually see myself in all of you. So it was a safe space to celebrate me, my birthday, whatever else. Now, so go to, was I married? Did I have Christmases? Absolutely. They were never about me. They were always about him, the gifts, the whatever, because again, now that I understand energy, I allow that. But so the expression of what is celebrating, I'm only now having fully, and not even fully, but truly embraced that it's okay for me to not only celebrate me, you, I can connect, I get it now. So it's this whole thing that I'm looking forward to Christmas. Even if it's by myself, I can totally connect, totally different. And get outside of that isolation piece that I think a lot of us sit in. When you go back to what you originally said, Lisa, around we're stepping into the holidays. How do we, right? So I opened up something perhaps different than you expected, but that's where I'm so at. And I think there's so many people out there that are probably feeling that and may look at me or all of us and say, God, you guys have this. Of course I'm I only turned 50 in March, people. So we're only, right? But it's beautiful, right? You're so important to work on. So, yeah.
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 Yeah. And you know, we live in a culture where everything is so externally referenced, right?
Exactly.
The stores starts playing Christmas music November 1st, you know, the Christmas, and it's so you know, Thanksgiving, all the holidays, it's so externally referenced. And so we're raised in a culture that says, don't think of you, think of what you can give to another. So of course that it just amplifies, I think, those feelings of unworthiness. And why would I celebrate me? Right. Yeah.
And how do you receive whatever that is? A card, a note, a thank you, an anything. Sorry, Yasmilde, you were going to say. You were going to say.
No, what I'm saying is, like, it's very fitting. Celebrating for me, and even if I did do this very early on, I do have those first 9 years that I remember crystal clear, okay? The misery around them. But the thing is, I discovered that celebrating is a decision. It is not something that will happen because external circumstances allow you to. It's not something somebody else will give you permission for. It is something you need to decide for yourself. What do you want? What kind of emotions do you want to surround yourself with? What kind of things do you want to produce out of you? And then fix the circumstances so that they help you support that. And I remember when I was still working at the laboratory, I could be the very, it didn't matter what time of the year, what celebration, what holiday could come, I could decorate the whole thing. I could be, cheering people up, putting things together. And I remember things like, for example, Valentine's. That is, we have become very jaded. A lot of people have become very jaded in terms of celebrations because of the expectations society has fabricated around them, right?
Yeah.
And so every time that would happen, it didn't matter if it was Valentine's, if it was Easter, if it was Halloween, or if it was Christmas, I would always bring it back to whatever it is a great opportunity to celebrate me. Whatever it is. I don't care what society is expecting of me. I learn not to associate my mood, my celebratory mood, to anything that was happening or anything that was being expected or anything that was being talked about. It was a decision. I'm going to be happy. I am happy. I'm going to celebrate that. That's my decision. And I need X, Y, and to support that decision of mine. So it is an internal decision.
Absolutely. And I think, we're talking about right now celebration in the context of upcoming holidays and things like that. And I think there is also the celebration of the everyday, right? The celebration of ourself every day. I watched the Helen Reddy movie, I Am Woman, the other night, and it brought back, that music from that time, which I loved. I loved the music of the 70s and the 80s. And so I downloaded one of her albums and I went for a walk, and I'm singing as I'm walking, and it's a beautiful, we're experiencing beautiful weather right now here in Ottawa. And that celebration of the weather and the sun and the music and life, right? That celebration of life. And you know yes, birthdays and holidays are communal celebrations. I think it's, how do we celebrate ourselves and others every day?
And I think we can talk about that, but I think because part of the opening, and I think part of sharing with more with the audience, what do they do a little bit with these holidays if they're not there, right? Like, how do we help people even get to this? It is life, and like we're all saying, these pieces, but move into the holidays and setting yourself up now, right? Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Well,
Is
yes,
that what we invite people to do?
but I think so. Yes, yes, and right. I think there's a lot of pressure on people to be happy over the holidays, to do all these things, go and visit family and all that. And I don't know how it's going to be this year. And so maybe this year is the year we get to give ourselves permission to break the cycle of that, of the expectation of, oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to be like this.
Which is absolutely brilliant, because then if we get into the self now, knowing that with this world that we're under, it might just be us home alone. It might be with really just the 3-5 people in your immediate household, but it is. So bring each of that self forward and celebrate each moment. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Just explore what really makes you happy, comfortable. What do you need? And go for it, right?
Yeah.
And if you think that if you do need, because I would love to celebrate my I mean, I've done huge things with my family in Cuba. New Year's Eve is the biggest celebration of our culture. And so I would love to be there. On top of that is my father's birthday, January 1st. So it was a 3-day long party growing up, right? And I would love to do it with them. But it's about focusing on what you do have. There are always people that are in a worse situation that we are.
Absolutely. It for me, as I think we've been saying, as we've been having these conversations, COVID has been a huge invitation for us to break the patterns of how we lived. And as we're in November now, so we're coming into the home stretch of the year and the holidays, and to really reflect,
Yes.
as Donna was saying, how do I want to set myself up as every day and every week gets closer? What choices am I willing to make for myself that honor me? And in honoring myself, I honor another, right? Who do I want to spend my time with, right? Who do I want to be in conversation with? Where do I want to travel? Do I want to travel? I think this is the perfect opportunity to go, oh, let's take a breath here.
Yeah, explore that a bit so that you're not feeling all of that energy, right back to the staged version of what it should be. So sit in it and explore it. Absolutely.
Yeah. The word obligation is coming up for me. I think in terms of celebration, how that word plays into it. So for people who, as you mentioned earlier, Yasmilde, who don't like to celebrate their birthdays or whatnot, the pressure and obligation to celebrate from others, right? From those who love to celebrate. And so the obligation of people who may, but like, okay, well, I'll do it because she loves to celebrate, right? Like, and so this is really a really cool thing of, okay, where am I making my choices based on obligation?
It's like we're saying though. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it is by choosing something now, one little thing. And the funny part is, and I knew we were going to talk about celebration, and yet I did not arrive with my champagne flute. Often I have a champagne flute with water in it because that's a natural, oh my God, right? Whatever that little, if it starts as a little token of something, right? To begin that process of celebrating, whatever it is, right? Sorry, Yasmilde.
No, I love what Lisa was talking about. Just respect your own emotions, right? Whatever they are, and learn from them. So it's all about discovering, okay, why don't I want to celebrate?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's behind that, right? This could be a great opportunity to discover, because if there is something that is holding you back from celebrating you, it's worth exploring, because
Absolutely.
letting go of that is healthy.
Yes.
um, there is a reason why being happy, being loving, in a loving state, respecting and appreciating yourself are so powerful. That adds years, not only years to your lifespan, but it quality of life also. So it's about understanding, okay, why am I dwelling on the yucky feeling?
Mm-hmm.
What is that teaching me? What needs to come through? And that would be a step forward to shifting, because shifting is about learning, right? And for that, you need to have the intention. So, what am I learning? Am I willing to let go of this? Or am I living on the need of it? Am I identifying myself with the yucky feeling? Am I punishing myself this way? And why am I doing that? Am I willing to step to the other side, to actually try it out? And start with that, water in champagne fluid, right? I cheers to myself. And it can be you with yourself in front of the mirror.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be big. So as an example, for dinner, I live with myself, I live by myself. And for dinner, I sit at the table, I light a candle, I have a glass of wine or something. And it's that celebration of eating at the dinner table. Yeah, there might be times where I might, eat in front of the TV, but it's not something I do all the time. Most days I celebrate my meals by sitting at the table, right? So we don't have to do these elaborate things, right? Celebration. Like I said, yesterday I went for a walk and I was playing the Helen Reddy music and singing along the way. And I came home feeling, so light and happy in that celebration. What music do you love that you haven't listened to in so long? What activity do you love to do? I love to iron. I celebrate.
God, I'm bringing it over.
I celebrate when I got my 2 big loads of laundry waiting for the iron.
Oh my God, I love that.
Right? That's a celebration for me. Most people go, what?
That is the one household chore I never enjoyed because we had to. My father had like his uniforms and it was like, who's on iron duty? And, oh God, every other household chore. Not so much. I know where I'm taking my iron.
I love it too.
There's so much in that in celebrating, right? Like it is. I think it's that it's the opening for people find the things, because we're here in this lifetime to take it all in, right? Find out who we are and embody it all, right? Like that's just love it, right? You're not foolish to do it. You're not a kid for doing it. You're not crazy. You're not taking away from anyone else.
You're
If
just
you can't
alive.
express it, you are alive. Exactly. If you can't express it with somebody else around, do it in your head. If nothing more, to start. Like, yeah, there's so much there. I love
So
it.
celebration and play go hand in hand for me.
Yes,
Definitely.
Right. And so where do you play? Where do we play and celebrate? When I'm feeling a little kind of thing, I put on the movie Grease, right? Because I love the dancing, and I don't care. By the end of that music, I'm up doing the dance at the very end, and it gets me in that place of, again, play. And for me, so celebration and play. And I think as a society, we have taken the play out of celebration because it's become so externally referenced with what are we going to buy and what are we going to do and what are our obligations. And so my invitation to everyone is to consider, maybe this year, let's bring back play. How do I choose to play in my life as a form of celebration and celebrating?
And I would add to that, what can you do today? It doesn't matter how small it is. What can you do today that could bring you a step further into a celebratory of yourself mood?
Yes.
And then just do it.
Yes.
Do that.
And to top it all off, you're worth it. Every single one of you out there is worth it.
Yes.
And we love you.
I know, exactly. So, you want to play with anybody? Send us a message. We're here to play. We shall celebrate, if nothing more, cha-chin with our glasses, and we will play with you and celebrate your life with you.
Absolutely. And if you want to, as Yasmilde invited you earlier, to engage in a conversation, right? This is not about doing it by yourself. This is about community. And all three of us are here. Right?
We are
open to have a conversation with anyone who's looking to shift how you feel about celebration and yourself in that.
Definitely. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody. Yeah.
Until the
next time, wherever in the world.